Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to Sober Talk, and welcome back to our first stream since the protest yesterday. Um, we'll talk a little bit about that protest between now and the time we start reading, which usually we wait about 5-10 minutes, depending on how many people show up. But we knew we were going to be going live today. But yesterday, um, was a big giant protest that happened between content creators, I guess you could say, a protest towards a lot of the platforms. It started off where it was supposed to be Twitch streamers, and then it just kept going as the news got out. There was quite a few people that did go live yesterday. Um, Maybe they felt that they just had to do it. But on the other hand, there were some folks. Basically, there was. I'm sure for the most part, the ones that went live yesterday, those folks were ones that either A, they just kind of felt that they were too small. What's going on, Ian? What's going on, my brother? Those videos were funny as hell. It was much better from your angle than it was from mine because here I was, hole. So all right. So basically, for those that are still kind of confuzzled about the protest that this channel was involved in, quite a few other channels were involved in. Is basically for 24 hours, a lot of us did not stream. We did not take part in streaming or uploading any content. I filmed, but you guys don't get to see that till I release it. And yesterday was a lot of fun. It was a lot of goofy fun, and we had a great time yesterday. Worked on some production stuff, but this channel did not upload a single video. We didn't upload anything to TikTok. In conjunction with that protest that had started taking place on Twitch. And let me explain again what that entailed. Uh, a lot of the female gamers that were doing their thing on Twitch kept getting hassled an awful lot, and basically a lot of streamers over there on Twitch were like, they wanted the platform to actually do something about it, do something more than they had been. Well, it turned into where a lot of folks were like, it started kind of spilling over here to YouTube, and a lot of us over here on YouTube basically said, look, we're not gonna take this. Even though we're not on the same platform, we're all in this together. And content creators across the board basically kind of formed that picket line and said, we will not upload, we won't do any content for 24 hours to hit these the platforms as hard as possible. And of course, there was some again that did cross that line, that picket line, if you will. And I'd even said then, hey, that is their right if they wanted to cross that line. Now, some of them, I'm sure, the ones that did cross the line, either A, they felt that they were that their channels were too. Absolutely, yes, support them content creators. They felt that they had to cross that line because their channels are just small enough where not doing content, not going live or anything like that. Hmm. Sorry about that, folks. Paying for high dollar internet, the best you can get in the area, and it acts like it's freaking McDonald's internet. You know, pay for high dollar, pay through the nose for the best internet in the area, and it's garbage. I will have to make another phone call. All right. So as I was saying, I know there were several that did cross that picket line yesterday. And in crossing the picket line yesterday, the ones that basically their channels were too small and they couldn't do it, just kind of, they had to go live. Yeah. But anyhow, um, so and then there was of course some that just didn't care. They really didn't care. Now we know the ones that pretty well don't care. But YouTube, from what I understand, I don't have all the details, did actually listen. Marvel's in the shop. We'll worry about that later. But yeah, basically, we knew full well that there was going to be some creators that wouldn't care. Now, I won't say, hey, these guys are, I'm not going to, whatever. It's their business, their channel. They can choose to be a part of a protest or not. That's their business. It's one of those things to their viewers, decide how you feel about it. That's where we stand. That's it's not my place. It's not my place to, what's going on, Jamie? Good to see you, Hoss. But absolutely, absolutely. Um, but tonight we will continue reading on through the big book, and that is what Sober Talk is really all about. Where we kind of we crack on through the big book, so you guys can learn what I learned on what's help me get sober. So I have no problem sharing that because the book, what's in this book, along with good people who lived has been living a sober life, they taught me a great deal. And of course, as we get a little closer to the end, we might even do a little bit of a Prince Magnum story, something you guys might find funny. And not just the one about me falling in that frickin' hole 3, 4 times. I forgot how many times that happened yesterday, Ian. I forgot. Oh, thanks so much, Jamie. For those of you who don't know, that there is Jamie of the Isolationist Network. Now, he absolutely comical guy. Jamie, if you think about it, grab hold of your link to your YouTube channel and uh, drop it in the chat so everyone can get over there and find you. Okay? He's got a great personality, and I even learned a couple of things watching his streams. Just the energy. I wish I had a quarter of that energy that he puts into his gameplay, and just amazing creator right there. I know there's been a couple of times I've been in stream, been in your stream, and I'll tell you what. If you played Fortnite, Jamie, I would definitely have to get you on to the Tuesday Night Madness pre-show to interview you because you would probably be one of the funniest interviews I'd ever have. One of them, I guarantee it'd be hilarious. It'd be keeping everybody in stitches, just laughing so hard. Um, it'd be hilarious. We'd have a great time. But anyhow, all right. So we're at about almost the 10-minute marker. Hopefully the internet does not give us any more issues this evening, but we're going to crack on through the big book. And I know Ian will probably have a few good questions for me throughout the book because I know we're getting close to the end of this chapter. And this is the particular chapter that kind of deals with the subject matter of spirituality. And again, I keep saying this as we've been going through this chapter more and more. Please understand when guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. All righty. So we're going to crack on through here and we're going to have, we're going to continue so you guys can see what it is that I had to learn. And again, let me express, spirituality and religion are two different topics, okay? On this channel, we really don't talk religion all that much because some people, like anything, there's some things about religion that's wonderful and some things that's not, okay? And bear in mind, I'm Native American, so there's a certain religion that rubs this guy the wrong way. And I'm not talking, ain't nothing, Jamie. I'll tell you what, great. I call it as I see it. I'm telling you, great, you got a great sense of humor. I would love to bring you on to the pre-show, and you definitely fit into the main show. Oh my God. Every time, Okay, real quick, confession time. Confession time to everybody. Y'all wonder how good my acting is in the pre-show, well, in the main show. You ever wonder how my comedy acting really actually goes? Because I mean, you've all heard me rage, but please note I'm saying I rage when things don't go my way. And you've heard me get upset and basically yell, uh, I hope a bear takes a dump in your mouth. A big, runny, steamy dump in your mouth. I'm acting at that point. Y'all think I'm really mad. I'm really not. I'm having a good time with it. Or you'll hear me, um, Jamie's dying. Um, let's see, what is it? I get ticked off and say, I hope a horse uses your eye socket as a sex toy. That way you can see him coming. Yeah, that's another one. You hear me get upset on that one. And I'm just acting. The best one, though, the best one is whenever I tell everyone to check out my partner, Mr. Gamer Ian. That's the best line. And now, because we're live and I can go ahead and tell you this one, um, you guys are, Jamie, you're going to love this one. You'll hear me say, be sure to check out my partner, Mr. Gamerian. And if you haven't done so, be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to ding that bell notification. After all, I enjoy his content when I'm alone in a dark room and I'm naked, covered in jello. Green jello at that. He's gonna say it. We're gonna see it here in a moment. Ian's gonna be sitting there saying, "Why, Prince? Just why?" One of the talents as an alcoholic that I have. He's dying right now. Yep. That's uh You'll hear me say, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, be sure to do so. And be sure to ding that bell that's right next to it. Because if you do, it might actually go a ring a ding ding da ding da ding ding. And if it doesn't, YouTube, get on it. Yeah, these are things that I'll do in the live stream. And poor Ian, he gets laughing so hard. Well, him, Broken My, everyone gets laughing so hard they can't even breathe. Because I mean, I keep this stuff going. And when I really want to actually pretend I'm raging, and I mean, I'm pretending, remember, it's acting. My voice acting, it sounds like, I mean, everyone thinks for the longest time, thought for the longest time I was really that upset. But you'll hear me actually say, you cocksucking motherfucking Peter lick a sack of monkey shit. And everyone's like, wow. The wife actually heard me do that one time. And she's like, I'm actually impressed. Damn. Well, that's rehearsed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, what's going on? Think different. That's my boy there. He's actually seen Project Spirit up close and personal. Got to even walk around her, all that good stuff. But yeah, what was that? Oh, the Superman thing. I've been poor Ian. He has not been the same since we've started running together, and we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun, a lot of fun. But yeah, you definitely got to do it with us at least once. But I promise you, you do it once, it's like smoking. You can't put it down if you enjoy it, you know? But yeah, when I first seen it, it was a lot of fun. It just turned me on to the game, and I have a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Pinned right to the top of my computer, right next to OBS, Fortnite. But yep. And what a couple months ago, I took over the pre-show, and the pre-show we try to keep it as clean as possible, and I like to take my comedy right up to the edge, but I don't take it over the edge, because it's supposed to be kind of family friendly. I won't say it's supposed to be family friendly, where you can still kind of watch it while the kids are running around in the living room. And But oh, here, Jamie, because now they've got cars in Fortnite. I'll climb in the passenger seat, pop my head out the window, and then you'll hear me go, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," and then to follow it, what is it? What is it, little? What is it, boy? Did little Timmy fall down the fucking well again? That little bastard! Yeah, poor Ian has not been the same since we've started. And after this stream, okay, there you go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, bad. You don't do it. He's dying. He's dying. Well, after this stream, we'll be on Fortnite. You're dying over here. We'll be on Fortnite, and because Ian and I do a collab stream together right after this stream, and we have such a good time, such a good time. But so I definitely recommend if you have a moment, slide over, and we will just be having a blast. We always have so much fun, and sometimes my wife gets in there, then I got to kind of sort of behave, kind of. I won't. Like whenever I pull out on Save the World for Fortnite, I'll pull out one of my favorite guns. You'll hear me say, "Excuse me, while I whip this out." Shit like that. Yeah. Ian put up a bunch of clips that were just downright funny. Downright funny. But yeah, you definitely got to hang out with it. Definitely come over to see what I mean, because I mean, he's dying. Bad. You ornery cuss. Let's crack on with the big book. We have too much fun. Way too much fun. Alrighty. Okay. We're on page 52 of the chapter We Agnostics, which is like the third chapter. Give me a second. Fourth chapter. Sorry about that. Tend to forget. Yeah, fourth chapter. All righty. I'm gonna read you. I kind of left off here and did a little bit of talking, but and again, for those who do not know, dear old Prince Magnum is a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and my sober date is February 7th, 2006. So for anyone who doesn't feel like mathing, I'm over 15 and a half years without a drink or a drug. All right. So this was the book that helped me get sober, and that's actually it's self-titled Alcoholics Anonymous. We call it the Big Book. All right. Here we go. We had to ask ourselves why we shouldn't apply our human problems to the same readiness to change our point of view. Thank you, Jane. And what I'm about to read now is what Sober Man calls the drinking promises. If you're an alcoholic, that's coffee. I'm talking alcohol. All right. You goober. But it basically goes. The Sober Man refers to the section I'm about to read. What happens to an alcoholic like me if we relapse, or what he calls the drinking promises. Okay. We were having trouble with personal relationships. We couldn't control our emotional natures. We were prey to misery and depression. We couldn't make a living. We had a feeling of uselessness. We were full of fear. We were unhappy. We couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. Was not a basic solution of these bedevilments more important whether we should see newsreels of lunar flight? Of course it was. That until it gets to the part we couldn't seem to be of real help to other people. That whole section I read there, and then the pause, then the rest of the paragraph. But before that pause, That was the promises, if you will, the drinking promises. What happens to alcoholics like me if we start drinking? We saw others solve their problem by a simple reliance upon the spirit of the universe. We had to stop doubting the power of God. Our ideas did not work, but the God idea did. The Wright brothers' almost childish faith that they could build a machine which could fly was the mainspring of their accomplishment. Without that, nothing could have happened. We agnostics and atheists were sticking to the idea that self sufficiency would solve our problems. When others showed us that God's sufficiency worked with them, we began to feel like those who insisted that the Wright brothers would never fly. Logic is great stuff. We liked it. We still like it. It is not by chance that we were given the power to reason, to examine the evidence of our senses, and to draw conclusions. That is one of man's magnificent attributes. We agnostically inclined that we would not feel satisfied with a proposal which does not lend itself to reasonable approach and interpretation. Hence, we are at pains to tell why we think our present faith is reasonable, why we think it more sane and logical than to believe than not to believe, why we say our former thinking was soft and mushy when we threw up our hands in doubt and said we don't know. When we became alcoholics, crushed by self-imposed crisis, we could not postpone or evade. We had to fearlessly face the proposition that either God is everything or else he is nothing. Sorry, that was a little difficult to read. We became alcoholics. We were crushed by self-imposed crisis. We could not postpone or evade, or we had to fearlessly face the proposition that either God is everything or else he is nothing. God either is or he isn't. What was our choice to be? Arrived at this point, we were squarely confronted with the question of faith. We couldn't duck the issue. Some of us had already walked over the bridge of reason toward the desired shore of faith. The outlines and the promise of the new land had brought luster to tired eyes and fresh courage to flagging spirits. Friendly hands stretched out in welcome. We were graceful that reason had brought us so far, but somehow we couldn't quite step ashore. Perhaps we were leaning too heavily on reason that last mile, and we did not like to lose our support. There was a comment. Hey, what's going on, Queen Bee? Welcome to the live. I'm doing fantastic. Reading the big book. Reading the big book. So you guys can all get an insight on what it is that taught me how to stay sober. Some of the stuff. Actually, a good portion of it. It's good to see you, Queen. You know, we got the Fortnite live stream after this. Save the world. Saving your world from bad guys. Anyhow. Carry on. That was natural. But let us think a little more closely. Without knowing it, we had not been brought here to where we stood by a certain kind of faith. For we did not believe in our own reasoning. We did not have confidence in our ability to think. What was that but a sort of faith? Yes, we had been faithful, abjectly faithful to God, to the God of reason. So, in a way, or in one way or another, we discovered that faith had been involved the whole time. No, I wasn't. We found, too, that we had been worshipers. That state of mental goose flesh that goes through, that is used to bring, what a state of mental goose flesh that used to bring on. We had not variously worshiped people, sentiment, things, money, and ourselves. And then, with a better motive, we had not worshiped, had we not worshipfully beheld sunset, the sea, or a flower, who of us had not loved something or somebody? How much of these feelings, these loves, these worships have to do with pure reason? Little or nothing. We saw at last. Were not these things the tissue of which our lives were constructed? Did these feelings, after all, these determine the course of our existence? It was possible, we say, we had no capacity for faith or love or worship. In one form or another, we had been living by faith and little else. Imagine life without faith. We were nothing left but pure reason. It wouldn't be life. But we believe in life. Of course we did. We could not prove life in the sense that you can prove a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. Yet, there it was. Sorry. Could we say nothing? The whole thing was nothing but a mass of electrons created out of nothing, which means nothing, whirling on to a destiny of nothing. Of course we couldn't. The electrons themselves seem more intelligent than that. At least, so the chemist said. Hence we saw that reasoning isn't everything. Neither is reason, as most of us use it, entirely uh, dependent, dependable, though it emanated from our best minds. Emanated from our best minds. I can't even. What about people who prove that man could never fly, yet been seeing another kind of flight and spiritual liberation from this world? People who rose above their problems. They said God made these things possible, and yet only smiled. We had seen spiritual release, but like to tell ourselves it wasn't true. Let me stop there for a moment, check the comments. That nothing must be something. Absolutely. Oh, again, folks, it is hard for me to read that long. It kind of hurts, and it's a little difficult. The mind, the stroke, basically. I'm still affected by it, even though I do pretty good. So I do the best I can. Now, let me get another sip, and we shall carry on. Oh man, good coffee. Damn good coffee. We're getting close. Yeah, we are ridiculously close. Actually, we were fooling ourselves, for deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It may be obscured by calamity, by pomp, by worship of other things, but in some form or another, there it is. For faith in a power greater than ourselves is a miraculous demonstrations of that power in human lives are facts as old as man himself. We finally saw that faith in some kind of God was part of our makeup, just as much as the feeling we have for a friend. Sometimes we had to search fearlessly, but there he was. He was much a fact as we were. We found the great reality deep down within us. In the last analysis, there is only that he may be found. It was so with us. We can only clear the ground a bit. If our testimony helps sweep away any prejudice, enables you to think honestly, encourages you to search diligently within yourself, then, if you wish, you can join us on the broad highway. With this attitude, you cannot fail. The consciousness of your belief is sure to come to you. In this book, you will read the experience of a man who thought he was an atheist. His story is so interesting that some of it should be told now. His change of heart was dramatic, convincing, and moving. Our friend was a minister's son. He attended church school where he became rebellious at what he thought was an overdose of religious education. For years thereafter, he was dogged by trouble, frustration, business failure, insanity, fatal illness, suicide. These calamities in his immediate family embittered and depressed him. Post-war delusionment, ever more serious alcoholism, impending mental and physical collapse brought him to the point of self-destruction. One night, when confined in a hospital, he was approached by an alcoholic who had known a spiritual experience. Our friend's gorge rose up as he bitterly cried out, "If there is a God, he certainly hasn't done anything for me." But later, alone in his room, he asked himself this question: is it possible that all the religious people I have known are wrong? While pondering the answer, he felt as though he had lived in hell. Then, like a thunderbolt, a great thought came in and crowded all else. Who are you to say there is no God? The man recounts that he tumbled out of bed to his knees. Within a few seconds, he was overwhelmed by a conviction of the presence of God. It poured over and through him with the certainty and majesty of a great tide at flood. The barriers he had built up, though the years were swept away, through the years had been swept away. He stood in the presence of an infinite power and love. He stepped from the bridge to a shore. For the first time, he lived in conscious companionship with his Creator. Thus, our friend's cornerstone is fixed in place. No later vicissitude has shaken it. His alcohol problem was taken away that very night, years ago, and it disappeared. Save for a few brief moments of temptation, though the thought of drink has never returned. At such times, a great revulsion has risen up in him. Seemingly, he could not drink it even if he would. God has restored his sanity. What is this but a miracle of healing? Its elements are simple. Circumstances made him willing to believe. He humbly offered himself to his Maker. Then he knew. So has God restored us to, has God restored all to our right minds. To this man, the revelation was sudden. Some of us grew into it more slowly. But he has come to all who have honestly sought him. We drew near to him, he disclosed himself to us. That is the end of that particular chapter. And then we get into the chapter, how it works. And for the second time, the big book will actually say, you are now at this step. The big book is sometimes vague about that in the early stages. The second chapter is just kind of an overview, what you're going to be getting yourself into. And then you get into the chapter, Bill's story, and there's a solution that's just more of an overview to help you kind of identify whether or not you're alcoholic. And then it gets into more about alcoholism. That's really step one, okay? That's step one, okay? Then it gets into we agnostics. That's step two. Then it gets into more about alcohol. I'm sorry, not more about. It gets into Motherfucker. I just went blank. How it works, which is step 3 and step 4. Then the next chapter is into action. And it covers step 5, step 6, step 7, 8, all the way up to step 11. All right. A lot to go through. On into action. Step 12 is dedicated, an entire chapter is dedicated to step 12 called working with others. We will continue on after that one because there's still a lot more to go over. There's a lot of stuff. There's actually a chapter right afterwards, right after working with others, called To Wives. Jamie's still here. Awesome, awesome. And then the next one after that, after the chapter To Wives, is the family afterwards. And then there's an entire chapter called To Employers, basically teaching bosses how to deal with their alcoholic employees, you know, the ones that are in recovery, or dealing with them while they're still drinking. And then we get to the section called A Vision for You. You want to talk about a really good one. Woo! It'll leave you shaking. Matter of fact, my very first AA meeting, I heard the last 2 paragraphs of A Vision for You read at the meeting, and I will tell you, that chapter... We'll be waiting for a bit. Actually, Bad Bad, I can hook you up with that. I can hook you up with that. Right here on YouTube, you can actually watch a movie called My Name is Bill W. And it's about one of the co-founders, the one main co-founder who wrote most of this. And it takes you through a good deal of his life. Now, there's still a lot of speculation about some of the things that happened in his life, but yes. And if you guys are enjoying the reading, I mean, I have no problem doing it. Whenever I've had sponsees and we're reading together and going over stuff and we're talking about things and anything like that, as we're going through, I will tell you that I have them help me. Because I'll read a couple pages, then they'll read a couple pages, and back and forth, back and forth. And I'm doing this all on my own. So, as I'm doing this all on my own, you guys get the idea, you know. But it's, you know, I'm enjoying it. It's nice to be able to share this with you guys. But I'll share these 2 paragraphs because I actually heard this my very first AA meeting. And I started crying. I'd been crying a good deal of the meeting because it was my first AA meeting. I was a mess, but I broke down in tears because these few paragraphs actually gave me hope that maybe there might be a chance I might make it, you know. And it went like this, page 164. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. When I heard that, I teared up, said, said to myself, there might be hope for me after all. It was a good, it was a different time. I remember asking Sober Man to sponsor me that night, and it was really funny because when it came time for him and I to finally sit down and start going through the book, he asked the question, "Why did you ask me to sponsor you?" And I said, well, at first I was like, well, what do you mean? I didn't understand. He said, what is it? Why do you want me to sponsor you? And I said, I heard what you said that day in the meeting, and I really liked your enthusiasm. And I decided that if I'm going to try to get this thing, that's how I want to learn it, is with that enthusiasm. I don't even know if this thing is going to work for me. I may actually be too far gone, but I got to try something. Because right now, all I want to do is die. Sober Man looks down at the floor, looks up at me, and he says, you know that great big blue book that you got today? Yeah. Why don't you pick it up? Let's go over a couple of things. You want to talk about my real introduction to Alcoholics Anonymous? That's when it really began. I'm still learning things. I'm still learning a great deal about the program. Every time I pick up the book, every time I talk to another alcoholic, sometimes when I'm here talking to you guys, just like we're doing right now, sharing this stuff, I learn something new. I don't have all the answers about sobriety, but I do have experience with sobriety. Um, that's one of the honest to goodness things that I'm very glad that I have behind me. But always remember, okay, the further I get away from my last drink, the closer I get to my next one. That's why I work as hard as I do in sobriety. Even if I'm not at a meeting, I'm still doing something to stay sober. And I have to say, I'm very happy that I'm still sober today. You know, but on the subject of good people that continue to help me stay sober, I need to take a moment and thank all of you that who continue to come in here and listen to who are here for the Sober Talk live streams. We'll tell stories, we'll read the big book, we'll have some laughs. I'm going to say something right now that you all need to hear. You guys are the real heroes in this live stream, okay? Because if you guys weren't here for me to share the stories and all that, I'd just be some asshole on camera. It's you guys that, by me sharing the stories, reading the book, and sharing my experience, you're helping me stay sober. In the process of doing this, though, we don't know who's going to watch the playback. We don't know who's going to, maybe see something from one of these streams. And maybe it might grab hold of them by the boo-boo, and, maybe it might give them something to think about, something to, maybe I'm, maybe I need to rethink this thing, or maybe I need to, take a moment and, rethink, maybe it might be the one thing that saves their life that day. So by you being here and supporting this series, in all reality, you might be helping folks save their lives and you don't know it yet. Take that in for just a moment. Just by being here right now, you could be helping save another person's life. Indirectly, but you're still there, and that makes you a part of it. So if you've been wondering today whether or not you are worth anything, I think you are. Just by being here, you are worth something. You may have helped save somebody's life. You may never meet them. You may never know who they are. But indirectly, by being here right now, you may have saved somebody's life. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? We don't know who we're going to help today. We have no idea who we're going to help today. All we know is that it is up to us to reach out to the best of our ability to help another person. Whether it's stay sober or stay off drugs, or maybe they're struggling with mental health issues, whatever it may be, they're struggling with something. But just by being here today, you have helped make a positive impact in somebody's life. If not just anybody's, my own. Because through you guys, I also have been able to stay sober for just another 24 hours. Because that's how we do this, one day at a time. You know, that's how we stay sober, one day at a time. But we do a few things in between those days. Okay? So if you've been wondering today whether or not you were worth anything, I think you are. I think you are. You may have helped save somebody's life today, and you just don't know it. So, I hope that helps. And, I'll tell you, you're one of the few that have actually heard me off stream, and you know how I feel, how important it is to say things like this. You know how Ian's one of the ones who's heard me off stream. You always, basically, if you will, I also have to confess, there are two Prince Magnums, if you will. Actually, there's more than one version of Prince Magnum, if you will. You guys get whenever the camera's on, but off camera, it doesn't. What I say is a little less bombastic than this, but it's still the same. It's still the same. Same goofiness. Just it's a little less bombastic. When the camera goes on and the limelight is on me, I will confess I do speak with a certain bravado. And right now, a sober man would be screaming at me, saying, "Well, that's because you've got an ego, my dear Prince Magnum. Prince Magnum, you have an ego that was once the size of Godzilla, but now we're getting it down to about the size of the Empire State Building. Continue to remain humble, my dear Prince Magnum. Remember to remain humble." And what is humility, dear Prince Magnum? What is humility? He'd always say, it's not thinking less of yourself. It's just about thinking a little less of yourself. I think I got that right. Or if you prefer, not necessarily thinking I'm worth less, but just think about others a little bit more. And that's something that he passed on to me a long time ago. And I'm grateful. I know at some point, because of the way that I'll speak on camera, I know at some point Ian's probably going to ask me, when am I going to do that over on TikTok, and when am I going to do some sort of positive video like that, where the camera just turns on and just boom, present that positive vibe. Maybe something for somebody to kind of take in for the day. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because I was sitting there thinking about the wind down stream after a Cinnamon live stream. Well, the wind down video after a Cinnamon live stream. That is like your all-time favorite, those videos, the wind down. over there on TikTok. You've told me that more than once. Um, Maybe sometime I ought to do that. Just turn the camera on and just go with a positive vibe and see what happens. See, just that, because I know a lot of folks out there could really use it. And see what's what. But it is getting to be that time. I was kind of also working a little bit on it here, real quick. Had to take the computer through a quick file clean, defrag, done. And I'll restart it here in just a moment, get OBS set up. My dear partner and I, Mr. Gamerian, we are going to go live. What's going on, J-Dog? We're getting ready to slide out of this stream. We're getting ready to start up the Fortnite stream. I definitely hope a lot of you come over and hang out with us because we have a good time. It's a little bit of goofiness. We just have a good time over there, and tonight will be no different. I get to hang out with some of you guys that I have met over there on Fortnite, and most of y'all are from around the world. You know. Well, hello there, Elias. Welcome to the live. We're getting ready to slide over to save the world here in just a moment. Um, Again, I know eventually we are going to get through with the first 164 pages of the big book. And I know we're going to keep reading through the fourth edition. We will continue reading through the fourth edition. We will get all the way to the last pages in the big book, and then we're going to crack open the 12 and 12, or the 12 steps and 12 traditions. We will definitely crack that book open. After that, though, I know at some point y'all are going to want more reading. We got lots more AA conference approved material. So we got a lot of content to go over, to read through, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I will continue to do this live as long as you guys are interested. I'm definitely down for that. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get ready to shut her down. This stream, that is. We're going to get over to save the world, all right? So, Mikey G just uploaded a video. Hey, what's going on, Sean? We're getting ready to slide over to save the world. Y'all gonna have to come over and join me. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Ian's gonna be collabing with me. It's Collab Thursday, Friday. The reason why it's Collab Thursday, Friday, because at this point in time over there in the UK, it's already the next day. They're 6 hours ahead of me. Oh no! They're in the future. And of course, tomorrow's Phase Corner. And of course, on Saturday, we will be back with Save the World Saturday, the new and improved. And it's a spin-off series of Tuesday Night Madness pre-show hosted by Mr. Gamerian. Main show hosted by yours truly. We're going to have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I will see you all over as soon as we start the new stream for Save the World. But that brings us to the spot where I get to say to all, it's new time. Actually, Queen, you should see what happened to me over there on Save the World. It's turned into a gag now. Ian was over there at some dang encampment. He got taken down at this encampment. And I went to come in for the rescue. Phase shift. Just rushing to get that to res him, and so he could get back in the fight. Of all the screwy things. Phase shift. You gotta wait a moment. Newbie camping. When you hit that third phase shift, it does have a cooldown at that point. I forgot to count the phase shifts. So what ends up happening? Phase shift, phase shift, phase shift. There he is. Went to jump and hit my phase shift again to land at the encampment to be all heroic and everything. I was coming in, guns blazing off the edge of the cliff into a ravine. In other words, I fell in a hole. And Ian captured the whole thing. And he's just sitting there. No, I didn't die. I had to climb back up and come up. No, didn't die, but it was spaceship, 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 hole. And it was like, that really just happened. And it was funny. It was really funny. You had to be. He caught the whole thing. And then I get back up there because the encampment, this husk encampment, was so was so close to that ravine that I fell in. Of all the things, I'm sitting there fighting, it's getting crazy. And of all the things, I fell in that same freaking hole 4 more times. 4 more times before the end of that damn round. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. 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 4 more times I fell in that hole. You figured out at least learn the first couple of times. Nope. Mind your footing, Prince Magnum. Yeah. Well, I wish I'd have captured it. There was been a couple of times Ian took on an encampment, and that encampment was a little heavy. And he's like, oh, oh. And next thing you see is me plow through using a double barrel shotgun. You see all these husks flying, and he didn't capture that though. He doesn't put that up. Basically, I mow through, get to him, pop the res, and then continue to fight until he can get settled back in. There's even been times that I'll rush through. It's going bad, and then I'll come blazing through, guns blazing and everything, and then get up to him, and then, it basically, yeah, he doesn't, he hasn't caught that one yet. Where I'm coming through just guns blazing and, for the rescue. Yeah. And then whenever I try to do that stuff on Tuesday Night Madness, it doesn't quite go according to plan always. You're mad. You're mad. I got this. Yeah, that happens. But anyhow, we got to get over to Save the World. We got to get this party started over there. I'm hoping the missus joins us tonight. If she doesn't, that's fine. I'll understand. Sad face. Anyhow, all righty. So that brings us to the spot where I want to remind you all a couple of important things for the evening. And those things are, at day's end, I hope all of you need me as much as I need you. And with that being said, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24. Thank you.